Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Courville, and I'm the Senior Director of Business Development here at Cloudary. I spent the last 10 years in media management space with executive position at companies such as Northplane, which is a DAM vendor, Avid Technology, which is a MAM vendor, and also Coveo, which is a digital experience company. I'll be your host today for this webinar entitled DAM 2020 Beyond Trends. Now, let me introduce you Frederic Sanuy. Frederic is a 25-year DAM veteran, a dynamic storyteller who advised C-level executive, agency, brands, and DAM project lead on digital strategy, data design, and product selection. After 20 years working on the customer side, Fred is now the CEO of Activo Consulting, offering a wide range of services to customer, which is either brand, retailer, agency, corporate, and also vendors. Activo is providing digital solution strategy from RFP, vendor selection criteria analysis, requirement analysis, metadata, and workflow strategy, and end-to-end implementation project management with the best ROI. Frederic, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. So that's a great honor for me to share this my experience, because when we are talking about the DAM, of course we will talk about the technology, but I think it's definitely the place for the customers. And so, of course, we are just living in a terrible time this year because due to the pandemic and the COVID. But in the meantime, and I like the sentence from JFK, it's always also the time to get some new opportunities. Okay, we are talking about crisis, but we have to find a way, and this is great opportunity we can get, especially in the digital space. And the first thing, maybe I'd like to share with you is this report from Adobe just unveiled a couple of weeks ago. And this is a good representation, in fact, of what customers are working every day, experience every day. And what we can see here on the left is finally here, what is the most exciting for them as a customer. And as we can see, we have finally here always this keyword, which is customer experience. So we will see here along the slides what means beyond customer experience, but this is definitely one of these first trends. We need to get something awesome to use because we are working with DAM every day. Of course, alongside, you have a couple of other items, just like video, images, etc., which are definitely very important, and other trends, but this one is definitely dedicated to the customer experience. And in the meantime, because one of the things maybe you are listening since a couple of times, it's all about AI, machine learning, etc. We have so many use cases today. We are talking about automotive and etc. But what means today AI for DAM system? And it's a little bit of a surprise when we see this analytics, because of course it's all about the data. And this is true for any vertical markets, whatever you are managing digital or for the industry. AI is able to gather a lot of information to give you reports from that information in a very short time. And in the meantime, what we know from the DAM system is what? It's all about keywording and tagging, if you are asking the question to people. And yet, as you can see, it's not ranking at the top. So definitely something has to be done regarding the DAM. That's something also we can talk a little bit later.
Hey, Frederic, a question here for you. So when I'm looking at the graph on the left and I'm looking at the first four opportunities that are mentioned there, they seem to all relate to customer experience, better engaging with individual via personal experience. What more can you tell us about what you see in general in the market that reflects that?
Yeah, for sure. One of the things I can say, I will not say that I'm fully agree with that, because I can understand customer experience is very important. But in most of RFP, and I'm just working on two of them this year. I did one for a large brand last year, and the first thing they asked me, we need to get something simple to use. So it means super easy UI, just like the iPhone. You can get us, for example. It's always sometime customers say me that, yeah, I need to get something easy to use, just like the iPhone. So I think Apple did a good job at that stage, but this customer experience is much more. It's also a challenge to explain to our customers that, okay, this is important, and especially to start the onboarding. But you don't have only the UI, because sometimes it's for some vendors, it can hide some more complexity or some issues behind just the UI. So this is what I can report from my experience standpoint.
Got it.
The next one is also very interesting regarding, and especially for a customer, what matters at the end of the day using the DAM. Why I have to use the DAM? And of course, one of the priority is we need to manage the brand as it is. And this is one of the state report from the Branding Report 2020. And every time we need to we need to leverage the brand more on all the touch points. And when we are looking exactly in details of what means behind, it's true that today the DAM is much more than a single source of truth. A DAM, it doesn't mean because you have, as for example, thumbnails in a window, that this is a DAM, okay? And that's something which is very important to understand, is we need to use the DAM to manage marketing campaign, to reuse the content, to repurpose this content. And this is one of the main target of customers. And this automation, this dynamic way, we can talk about dynamic DAM, is one way to really to challenge the personalization. Because a brand, as for example, wants to personalize its content regarding the different territories, regarding the habits of customers to use the product. And we know all of this use case of M&Ms or Coca-Cola. You can personalize everything on the bottle, etc. So this one is very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm seeing, Frederic, on the right side on your pink bubble there, 32% is related to creating content more efficiently and faster via automation. Given what we just talked about on the personalization side, can you tell us a little bit more about how this can be accomplished?
Yeah, for sure. One of the core feature of DAM is to manage renditions. And especially today, something has really changed during the last 10 years. Is 10 years ago, you're shooting a product, you have one picture, high definition, and you have to transform a couple of them. Today, from one picture, I can see that as, for example, for some luxury retailers, and especially in the space of New York, as for example, they need to produce more than 50 renditions. And all these renditions, this is definitely this place where you can, thanks to this automation, you can get some time and money, because you're just uploading your assets, and thanks to an advance and configuration, you can repurpose this picture in just 1 second on all of the touch points of your website, as for example.
Nice.
One of your analytics I'd like to share with you is from Mulsoft, and this one is also interesting, and especially one of his number, which is the number of tools in your company. You know all that even if you have DAM system, everybody wants to use Dropbox, WeTransfer, and etc. Does that makes really sense? And even today, I've got the experience working with some customers. I'm starting, for example, from 26 DAMs. Some of them are 5, 6 DAMs. To be honest, we really have to, if you really want to be efficient, you need to think at least to get a strategy. And what these numbers also are showing, the fact that most of decision makers today report that this customer experience is one of the top of the digital strategy, of course. And most in the environment of a company today, 81% said that you don't have really this strategy. The reason why that at the end of the day, you cannot be successful. It's just 36% people think that you can be successful. So definitely most of organizations now have to rethink the way to manage their digital content in not too much silos.
Yeah, yeah, and Frederic, one of the stats that strikes at me, which I definitely comply with, is the IT decision maker who reports data silo create business challenge in their organizations, 83%. Any thoughts about how organizations can avoid creating those silos?
I can give you one example. As for example, I'm working with a brand, and as some others, they are working with SharePoint. I've got nothing against SharePoint. SharePoint, you know, is this type of corporate portal where it looks like as a DAM. It's more something where you can edit text, etc. But I can see that most of people think this is a DAM, and so you can get in some organizations 100 SharePoint portal. And as soon as you want to use this portal, you can see the limits of the system because it's not very efficient in the search. You cannot preview the files. You have no mechanism of rendition, things like that. And this type of tools is a little bit killing. But I will also point on the fact that please, if you have DAM system, and especially from the IT team, you have to explain to your colleagues that they have to use the DAM and not retransfer. I see too often some people downloading the files, are planning on retransfer and send a link. My gosh.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And in the same report, which is a little somehow exactly the same analysis from Adobe, is the needs to use AI. But that's something also we can talk a little bit later regarding my 12 trends. Of course, we need AI. AI can bring a lot of things, but this is one thing to want to get an adoption from AI, and the other things to get a smart integration. Okay, and as we saw at the beginning, AI is much more than just auto tagging, and definitely people want to get something better. In the same report, and I think something has really changed, especially this year. For one reason is today most of system, it can be a DAM, can be a PIM, can be a MDM. Most of them are based on an API first with a front end, and of course it can provide a super top experience. Okay, but in the meantime, API wise, you have to take care about the security. And I see too many times, I'm used to, as for example, with customers to use some pen tests in order to stress the system. And I can tell you, wow, sometimes it's very scary. So security is even for me more important than the customer experience, because the first thing you need to do for a brand is to protect the content. We have too often some use case today in the industry when people are trying to spy each other and to get the content. So, and especially for example, for CMS websites, WordPress is not super secure. So really take the time to spend the time with your IT and departments and some experts to secure your content. Otherwise, we have also the API, which is also something growing because of course it provides some integration piece alongside the supply chain and some other blockchain GDPR things that are also growing. But for the first time, we can see that security is at the top. But of course, when we are back to the end customer, one of the things we want to use, they want to get something simple to use. I'm saying sometimes to a people, you don't have to be an engineer to use a DAM, okay? So, and after a couple of clicks, you are losing everyone. Even when you are doing a search, it has to be, as we said, Google-like. But when you are looking at some system today, it's not so Google-like as people and customers are waiting for. Of course, it's all about the integrations. So because you need to integrate your system inside the whole organization. And so the ability to bring some automation and some AI, but one other thing is, of course, this easy of use of a system. And alongside, so now, if we just want to get a larger view of this market, it's definitely crazy. You remember, Rick, when we started, you were in the company of Northland, etc. When I started before 2010, we just had a couple of DAM systems. So it was not so I will say, not so a challenge as it is today to make a selection. But now when you are looking at what's going on, it's just crazy. And I like this new map of the Chief Martech, because they made the decision to more or less to bring some awareness regarding this crazy number of solutions, to represent finally DAM, PIM, MRM, etc., marketing automation, just like as silos, as islands. And this is the reality, in fact. So it's growing, and it's definitely where customer needs to pay attention. It's not because your system is super nice with a great user experience that it has to be the decision maker. It's very important also to get some time to see the roadmap of a vendor, to see a couple of things regarding also the company, because you have so many acquisitions also after years that. So, but definitely a challenge for customers. And now, just before starting with the trends, I just want to, and I like this view because this is the clear representation finally for most of customers and brands and retailers, the position of a DAM and the different system. In most organizations, you need a foundation, and the foundation is a DAM. In each organizations, you have also MDM for master data management. This one can be more or less everything. I met some customer, it's a FileMaker database. For some others, it's a super complex MI system. For some new large organization, they are using Salesforce as to do more or less everything, because Salesforce, it's a CRM, it's a CM, it's going to be everything. But in the meantime, one of the things which is also very important when you have so many sources of information is to find a way to gather all of them in one place, which is the role of a PIM. And one thing I will just highlight to you is why we have a DAM and the PIM. You see more and more people explain that we are a PIM vendor, but we can do the DAM, or we have a DAM vendor and we can do the PIM. It's two different systems. A DAM is based on the documents itself. A PIM is at product information management, is based on what? On the product itself. So it's a picture, it's a couple of fields, it's asset links, translation, etc. It's not really the same system, and I don't know for now any system able to do everything in one single system. So, and as you can see, we have more and more input channels, and we have to distribute, to syndicate all these contents in a much more a channel. So a good representation of the position of DAM PIM inside large organization. And one of the use case I'm working with is on my side today is with Michelin, which is typically a good use case because you have a DAM and you have a PIM, and we are trying to, this is a clear representation of exactly what I was showing just before. And so you have a lot of stakeholders everywhere. You have to manage workflows. You have to manage hundreds of websites. This is the reality of what we have to manage today. So a real challenge. One thing also it's important to know is, and sometimes I met people asking me, yeah, but do we really need a DAM? I think yes, you need a DAM, as we said, because you need to get a foundation for your asset in the organization. And from this last business war analytics, this market is growing and growing. Okay, so you have some market growing even faster, just like print on demand, things like that. But to be honest, we are really at the edge where DAM is really now at the heart of the digital of a company. And I like to also this quote from a CDO of Michelin, and this is completely true. Today, digital transformation is 95% of people. It doesn't mean because you have the right technology that you can be successful. It never happens. You can get everything. And today, when we are looking back at the history for the last 25 years, some of the best technologies, we don't know yet what really happened, and they were not successful. But of course, this is one piece. But then you need to start the onboarding. You need to roll close to the customer, to do some discovery days, to spend the time with your metadata, with your vocabulary, with your taxonomies, and etc. This is this way to be successful. And so trend number one. So I just write in a couple of trends from 1 to 12 to really try to demonstrate what is very important today, and especially in 2020 for DAM. The first one, which is more or less the same as the last year, but it's always important to make understand to every customer what is a DAM system. A DAM system is this place where you can organize your assets, your documents, whatever they are. So it can be your images, video, documents, etc. And a DAM is an engine to process your files, and a DAM is an engine of your metadata. These are the core features of a DAM system. So it looks like very simple, but I see so many DAM systems today not able to manage very large TIFF, or not able to manage the latest H.265 video codec, as for example, or not able to process multiple pages of a PDF file, etc. A DAM is an engine. So it's very important to really try this fact. And of course, regarding the metadata, it's always important.
That's a great definition of what I call a traditional DAM or a pure DAM. But you know, I'm getting a lot of questions from people about terminology. You know, now we have DAM, MAM, PAM, PIM. You know, and there's a lot of different.
We have too much.
Ways
we have too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you give us a little bit more about the broader definition in today's evolving market? You know, what is a DAM really? What is it encompassing?
In fact, we tried something I tried to do, and some work, as for example, I'm also trying to do with some people like IT Equity Software Company here, with Mark Davy here, but also David Lipsey. So all the DAM experts of this world. It's very important to explain again that the foundation of a DAM. Okay, it's true that today DAM systems are moving ahead some digital experience management. So we are talking more and more about the way to use the asset, which is something important. But the foundation, it doesn't mean because you want to do more that you are not able really to do the foundation to get a strong DAM. And what I can see some very interesting evolution of a DAM today in order to be closer to a marketing automation system, which can be good as soon as you are doing the right job at the beginning, processing assets and metadata. And you don't have to forget that. That's the reason why I do agree with you. The new DAM system, the vision we have for DAM system is much more than a single source of truth. We are okay with that. But in the meantime, do not forget, and that's also something I try to test during RFP, during demo scenarios, providing some samples of files with, we cannot do a demonstration of DAM with small JPEGs, for example. So I'd rather to repeat again, but to have some foundation which are very important today.
Got it.
And of course, yeah. And of course, so I like this graph here I just pick up from your system, because I think this is a good representation, in fact, of this customer experience. Customer experience doesn't mean it has to be nice. Okay, a lot of things are super nice in this world, but sometimes maybe a landscape is even nicer than just a DAM system, or maybe this feature of a landscape inside the DAM. But what we need to do, in fact, I would like to, and what customers are waiting for, is to bring some innovation to easily use the system, as we just saw before in the analytics. So it's you just have some big buttons. You know where you have to click. It's responsive. Today, 80% of our business is going for your mobile. So I would like to say sometimes, it doesn't mean that you have to bring a dedicated application, okay? But at least you should be able to manage your DAM system, or to share some of the content using your mobile. And so this is UI and UX in the meantime, okay? This is what I'm really calling the customer experience. Otherwise, you know what's happened? When it doesn't work, I see customers, they're downloading the files, uploading in Dropbox, and then they can use Dropbox on their mobile to manage the sharing and etc., because it works super fine on your mobile. So very important to get this type of experience inside the DAM, just like drag and drop. It looks like super easy to do, but if you can drag and drop an asset from your desk it means much more than just the fact it doesn't work. Regarding the web frameworks, or you have some old system still using, as for example, Java or XTJS things, and you have some new approach with AngularJS, React.js, etc. So definitely something super useful and easy to use for the end customer.
Yeah, and Frederic here, just for clarity, so when you say customer experience, is that the librarian, the marketing team, the external user, creative agencies, or all of the above?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say any people that has to use the DAM, in fact. So it's very important for librarians. As for example, I'm working this librarians is a good use case because they are managing the vocabulary for the DAM, and sometimes I see too often some people complaining about the fact, okay, we want to organize the assets, but it's just a mess to ingest a couple of fields or different fields from a selection to find again my selection, or to add one field during the selection or anything like that, or to be able to add information at the top of existing information. This is something I'm calling the customer experience, because otherwise, if you cannot do inside the DAM, okay, at that stage, you can do on a software, you can use, as for example, Adobe Bridge, PhotoStation, Capture One, etc., to ingest your metadata and then just uploading in the DAM. The DAM is, at the end, it's just like as a Dropbox to share the content. So the DAM has to be something more. Reason why, whoever you are, librarians, stakeholders, I would say any user of the system needs to get a real and engaging customer experience.
Got it, makes sense.
Yeah, and for the metadata, of course, so of course my first strengths are really driven by these core features. Metadata are really the key. I see too often, and I will say even more with the new DAM system. I'm a photographer. I've got a lot of pictures, and this is one of mine from Festival of Cannes. And we are used to ingest IPTC, which is, at the end of the day, maybe one of the only standards in this market since 1965. But I can tell you that so many DAM systems, and of course, the vendor said, yeah, it's a matter of a setup. I don't care. If I'm uploading an asset, I should be able to retrieve this asset just searching for my IPTC codes. And I can tell you a lot of them, it's not really working. So it's very important. If we want really to put the DAM as a core inside the organization, especially for librarians, we should be able to easily edit, view any type of IPTC, XMP, and of course, custom metadata. Custom metadata, it's something very important because as soon as I was talking about the use case using DAM, PIM, CMS for e-retailers, the PIM system is based on a data model. And of course, the target is not to get all this information inside the DAM, but you have to get some of them, a selection of them. So most of the time, it's a couple, it's between 10 and 15. And so you need to be able to set this information inside the DAM, which is not always the case. And at all the levels, at the level of the assets, of a collection, of a folder, everywhere inside the DAM. Digital rights management. This is maybe one of the things that it's even more important today because brands want to control the life cycle of the assets. Of course, you can control the security and the access and the rights inside the DAM, but you know that you have to distribute this content alongside your different touchpoints. And sometimes the asset is outside of the DAM system. So today, I will say most of the DAM system, they have no mechanism to manage, or some of them just trying to make some custom layout of information and say, this is your digital rights management. It's not, okay? So it's important for any vendor to be aware about the right way to manage digital rights management. And so today you have some very good partner integration technology, just like Fadel. You have Imatag, you have so a couple of technologies really that really you can use, or Digimark. So it's very important and thanks to this technology, you can get in live, get a view of the life cycle of your assets. AI. So at that stage, I said, okay, maybe I like to get also this code from Luc Julia, is a CTO of Samsung, and he was writing a nice book. He wrote a nice book last year about he doesn't believe really in AI because it's talking about the car. So the top level of AI is level 5. So even if Tesla said that we are very close to level 5, but we need to get a different approach for AI inside the DAM. And this example is a good example because it's all about the context. So we know that, okay, we can use AI to get some keywords, etc. Every time I say, most of the time, the keywords you can get from such mechanism, whatever it's Google Vision, AWS recognitions, Azure, and etc., is bringing some noise. First of all, control your vocabulary, okay? Work on your taxonomies, on your facets, and then you can move and try to do some AI, but I will also advise to use this AI for some illustrations. For example, if you are a reseller, I don't think AI will bring so much as, for example, for a tie or something very technical. But in the meantime, you can use the capabilities of the AI to do something we can see there. Because it's true that sometimes I've got this nice lady, but I want to use this lady in a different background because the context is different. And it's not also DAM system really able to do this personalization at the top. And I'd like also, when I'm talking about AI, to talk about something more advanced. One of the things people today, and something which is also customers are try to leverage by the vendors, it should be nice if vendors try to understand the way people are using the system, okay? And I know a couple of companies now, they are just able to follow, in fact, the visit inside, just like on Google. Google is able to follow finally the visit of any user inside the system. So you have some plugin just like Agile, things like that, but companies just like Content Square also, now they are working on some deep integration of the AI. And sometimes when the user is coming back inside the DAM, he has a different view because the system is able to learn from the usage of the customer. It's all about workflow. Workflow is very different things. I will say that most of the time, people, and especially vendors, they don't understand what means a workflow. Workflow, it's not a custom metadata that you can put at the top of your assets or the collection and you say yes or no. It's not that. Workflow means much more. It's what we're calling business process mapping. So you have different views of that. So more or less, if you are looking how people are using a system inside a large organization, retailers, I know one of them, as for example, in France, there are 8,000 between China, South America, Europe, and etc. They have nearly 25 stakeholders, and they have to get the approval of the asset alongside the different business line, etc. How you can manage that? And at the end of the day, you don't have really the answer, and a few systems really can do, or at least if you cannot do, you have also some third-party integration that you can use at the top. So, but definitely this is one thing to bring inside your DAM if you want to bring some enterprise properties and features to your DAM. Now, this one is, as I said at the beginning, one of the maybe most important API. API to drive your supply chain for the reason why today an enterprise DAM system is not a single system inside the organization. It's much more. As for example, a lot of retailers are starting a project from their MI system. So you need to get a connection between your MI system and your DAM to start a project. Then from a collection, you can start a project and maybe distribute this content or send the content to a PIM, or the PIM system should be able to use the API of a DAM. The DAM now has to be able to push information to the PIM and not simply from the PIM to request the DAM. So it's a lot of complex mechanism, but without the API, it's difficult today to challenge or to figure out such use case like the eRetail. And it's very important to work with experts at that stage, because API, it's most vendors say, well, we have an API, REST, etc. Okay, but what it means? So you have to spend the time really deep inside the documentation to see exactly if the API should be able to do what you want for your system. And of course, as we said at the beginning, and of course, I like this quote from the CEO of Salesforce. The API finally is bringing new business inside the collaboration between different systems. And the reason why is, for example, Salesforce now is more or less everywhere. They have a great API able to aggregate any type of information. So I can see us, for example, with my customer today, we are starting the integration with a DAM. And instead of using Salesforce Marketing, where Studio, we are just using the DAM for what he has to do to manage the assets. And the API is a fantastic one. So the API is really able to innovate finally. You can really customize your application as you want. As a conclusion, in fact, regarding this API, it brings you a lot of opportunities regarding the ecosystem. And I think this is really where DAM has to be in 2020. Don't try, and especially I'm talking to the vendors, don't try to reinvent the wheel, okay? If somebody can do something really awesome, you may maybe to get an integration. So it can be a PIM, it can be for social, it can be for Adobe desktop application, etc., etc. And one of the good examples is of course your example, and I think this is a good one because of course in this DAM market you have a lot of competition. So you can spend the time trying to say, okay, my DAM is better than you, and etc., etc. And I like this approach because what? In fact, you can see on this map, on this infographic, that you have Cloudinary to store your assets with top efficiency regarding the CDN, the cache, and etc., which is very important for most retailers. But in the meantime, you have some of the DAM system, as you can see here on the right. And it makes sense, in fact, because especially we know that you are super good regarding the transformation, the engine, as I was saying at the beginning. You have a strong engine, where sometimes some others are not so strong. So instead of finally try to reinvent the wheel, I think this is the right statement. This is the right path to take to make such smart integration, and finally to provide your technology to much more customers just by trying to do a battle between DAM vendors. And now it's all about the DAM, but it can be the PIM, it can be social, it's CMS, etc., etc. And this is a good representation. Of course, we still have a lot of PIM, DAM, CMS, but if we just have DAM, PIM, CMS, it's okay. But this is a clear representation of what has to be today the ecosystem of a large company. And now, of course, one of them is, because it's very important also to talk to the creative operation teams. And I know that you are also spending the time to work during some webinars to get the stage to designers. It's very important because they are creating the content. And today, maybe one of the best places to share this content is the DAM. I don't know if you ever tried, as for example, to use the Adobe Cloud storage, which is that every customer has with your license, with subscription. It's just super slow. And so you don't have so many capabilities with systems. So it's very important to get this connector with your DAM system. I know that's a challenge for one reason. Adobe is updating the software a couple of times in a year. So this is a challenge for a vendor, but at least you can find a third company able just to do the job for you. And definitely one thing you will never be able to do is to get the top creativity inside the DAM. You get the ability to do Adobe Premiere inside the DAM, or to do all the InDesign feature inside the DAM just due to the technology. I'm used to do a lot of pages for InDesign documents for retailers. It's just a nightmare. Just a double spread pages. It's a couple of gig. It's very high definition, so you just have to stay in InDesign. But you can use the connector with your DAM to do some check-in, check-out mechanism, to search for a picture. In the meantime, you can connect to the Adobe stock to pop up some other assets. So very important if you want to be close to the creative operations to check that you have the right plugin. And the other example is also, so the previous slide was an example from CIHub, a third-party integrator with Adobe connectors. Silicon is also doing the same. And also at the top, I like what they are also doing regarding the personalization. Today, as we said at the beginning, personalization is one of the things customer and brands needs to get, because sometimes, of course, the master is done by your creative operation team, but sometimes you just have to change a price or to change the color of the banner or something like that. And today we have the technology to customize this thing inside your Adobe. Of course, you have a couple of technology that can be used. I was a customer most of the system in this world, so you have people like Chili Publish, which is also a provider of solution online editing, which is not based on InDesign itself, but it's more some IDML things. Silicon is a good one because it's based on InDesign itself. So it's, of course, it brings you a lot of efficiency at that stage. This one is maybe something that you need to push maybe just after security and customer experience. It's all about the KPI. And really, to be honest, when I see what is done today in the market, it's a little bit ridiculous. In 2020, you should be able to get this type of view. So I just pick up this view from Sisense, which is very a growing company, but doing a fantastic job. So it's more something we are calling BI, for business intelligence. So because why? Because when you have a dynamic DAM today, okay, it's nice to know how much people download the files, upload the files, etc., etc. But to be honest, I will not go show these reports to my boss and say, hey, you see, my DAM is super efficient. We have a lot of people downloading the files. Okay, and okay, how much money it brings to me? Oh, I can tell you later. So I think we need to jump one step forward. And BI brings so much more because you can aggregate information from your DAM system, your assets life cycles, okay, but also from your MI system or from custom metadata or from a spreadsheet or from any type of source. And then you can see, as for example, alongside your workflow, the different bottlenecks. Okay, I've got a project and I see that for the approval of this country, the guys spend 2 more days to approve the content. So it brings much more at that stage, as you can see here, to leverage the DAM, and especially regarding the return of investment. And one other thing, maybe when you have made the selection of your DAM, you have, of course, these questions to, okay, 85% of the time, people are searching for a cloud solution. But I can give you an example. If you are a retailer working with very large images, and today large images can be 400 million pixels, or maybe you have to manage 30,000 raw files per day. Do you think you have the time to upload everything inside the cloud, even with a black fiber connection, etc.? No, you cannot. Okay, so that's the reason why of course, we see in the analytics from SN2 on this slide that it's moving ahead to, it's not only website in the cloud, it's also web application. But in the meantime, we can also see that hybrid model is a good one because you can host your own data for the production and just use some of the content in the cloud or use processing in the cloud to manage your assets. And of course, I'm working with a customer, as I told you, since last year, a large one. And every time I would say every week during every report, every meeting, they said, we need to get more partnership. Innovation is driven by partnership. So it's very important to get this innovation. And when you make a selection for DAM system, that's a question you have to ask. You should be involved in a roadmap. You should know what will happen in the next months. Without this view, maybe you will make the wrong decision. So my recap is this one. 3 points, which are, as you understood, very important. DAM is an engine for your assets and for your metadata. So a DAM has to be a strong engine. It has to be maximum performance. Of course, at the top, you need to get a stunning experience. It's difficult today to sell something if you cannot just drag and drop, use your mobile, etc. for any people in the organization. I can tell you so many times, I know that some DAM vendors are good, but they don't maybe spend enough time to shape or reshape the content or to make something wow. And I remember customers say, I don't have the wow effect. And that's true, okay? And when you are working every day with a DAM system, it hasn't to be something like a spreadsheet online. So you're every morning you have to say, oh, this system is just awesome and I want to work with it. So, but you need to get this experience. The third one is all about the ecosystem. As you understood, you cannot get enterprise and dynamic DAM today without some connectors, at least a minimum, some APIs. But as we saw with the previous slides with the Cloudinary landscape, you need to get this ecosystem. It's for any customer, you say, okay, I've got solutions to manage my social content. I've got solutions to manage my product with a PIM system. So ecosystem is really at the heart of the today of a DAM. And on my side and for Activor, every DAM project is also a PIM project. Okay, so I like sometimes, as I'm doing for Festival of Cannes, or just to manage libraries of pitches. That's nice, I like it, okay? But in the meantime, to be realistic in fact regarding the business, it's always DAM and PIM. And alongside, it's important to check your metadata, KPIs, if you have some AI capabilities, and also the strategy of your vendor. And finally, as a conclusion, beyond the technology, I'd like to share with you, this is something we are doing with Mark Davy at IK Equity Software Company, with the 10 core test, etc., codified consultants. We have finally highlighted 6 steps. So maybe you just have 5 or 7, it doesn't really matter. But first of all, you need to start with the gap analysis, resource audits, in order to know what's going on before. Maybe you don't need a Ferrari, okay? You can get a DAM without spending $1 million, okay? To get all the requirements of all the business line, and this one is super important, otherwise you get some frustration. Governance is, at the end, you need to get all the organization from the IT to the C-level, to the marketing and communication to drive this project. And please do not test the system. You can even imagine to start a proof of concept, as for example, in order to test in real life with your use case. Every customer has a story to tell, we say. That's the reason why I say you cannot get one DAM to feed all customers. And that's good to get, of course, a lot of DAM vendors. But it's very important to get the right car and to challenge the right car with your business requirements, and then you can start your selection. So at the end, of course, it's difficult to end up without thinking about this time we just have. And one other thing I'd like maybe to address to the CEO of this world, to the C-level, is if you are starting tomorrow, it's too late. It's too late. The competition is really at the top today. I've got the chance and the honor to work with a large organization that started 5 years ago. And even today, they're asking themselves, because the competition is everywhere. Today, China is really at the top at so many levels. So if you are a small or medium company, if you miss the trend, it's difficult or maybe impossible to challenge the company with the market. So really, And even if you didn't start anything, this is the time to do something. To be honest, it's very important. I know that sometimes and too often, some customers say, oh, we need to cut some budget. Okay, we don't need communication and marketing. That's the wrong way. Okay, it's very important to start with. I'm sure you can save some money at so different levels. Okay, instead of using your car or as we can't fly anymore, okay, use your bike and save your money. I don't know, try to rethink about the organization, but you need to get something that you can share between all the stakeholders of the company, all the people of your organization, in order to start with something. It doesn't matter which DAM or which PIM system, but start with your digital transformation. Otherwise, future will be tough.